Welcome to Alternative Dog Moms Podcast. I'm Kimberly Gauthier, the creator of Keep the Tail Wagging. For the past 9 years, I've been blogging about raw feeding, pet wellness, and life as a crazy dog mom. I've seen massive improvements in my dog's health since I started raising my dogs naturally, and I'm passionate about sharing my experience to help other pet parents.
I'm Erin Scott. For the past 9 years, I've been researching and learning everything I can about healing cancer, allergies, autoimmune, and mystery illnesses in both my dogs and myself. And I can't wait to share with you everything I've learned on this journey. As the Alternative Dog Moms, we're bringing you all the latest dog health news that we're following and sharing the tips, tricks, and resources we learn along the way. Now, let's get started. Hello, Kimberly.
Hello, Erin.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. All good here.
So you guys recovered from the weather storm?
Yes. Oh my gosh, it was insanity last night, but we're good now. Thank you for agreeing to postpone our recording night so we could still get an episode out. It was hard not having any power.
We just had gorgeous weather here. It's been perfect because it's like mid 70s. Johan keeps coming home and saying it's like 85 degrees out. I'm like, it's really not 85 degrees. I don't know where you're getting your weather from, but it's 73. But it's been so nice. So I've been spending a lot of time outside with the dogs.
Oh, good.
Soaking it in until the rain returns.
Yeah, it's been the good old mid-Atlantic hot and humid here. So
I'm so glad we don't have so we have humid weather, but it's not East Coast humid, not even close. So any news? Anything you nerding out about this week?
I have a whole list.
Of course you do.
So first, I'll have links for everybody in the show notes for all these things. First, Rita Hogan. She is the canine herbalist. Mm-hmm. She's coming out with a book.
Finally.
And she said it won't be released until next year, but she just got signed to her book deal, and her publisher has a sign-up link. I'll make sure we have it in the show notes. So if you're interested just in the book at all, you don't have to commit to buying it or pre-ordering it or anything right now. Just if you're even mildly interested in it, they want to know. Because if she gets over 5,000 interests, they'll sign her up for a book tour.
Nice.
And so we're trying to spread the word, get the word out,
This is so great. I'm curious to know, because dog books, or specifically dog health books, they say aren't very popular and don't sell well. But after the Forever Dog, was number one for so long, I'm curious if this will open the door for other people to get publishing deals. Because a lot of people in the pet world just self-publish. Yeah. So that's really exciting because I adore Rita. She's amazing.
So I'll make sure we all go and sign up. I've even seen people say that they were signing up with multiple email addresses. I'm not necessarily promoting that behavior, but
just something that people are doing.
So yeah, I'm very excited about that. And she also wants to know, what do people want in her book? So if you're following her on Facebook, you can provide feedback and things like that, because she wants to make sure she's giving the people what they want.
Oh, that's so good. That herbal walk that I was going to do, but I couldn't, it got rescheduled to tomorrow. And of course I can't tomorrow. Oh, so it's just like, gosh darn it. I still have the cough. And so I don't really want to be around people while I'm coughing, even though, I try not to take too much medication. If it's not bothering me, then I try not to medicate it. But it's hard to be out and about and coughing because everyone's like, oh my God, why are you here?
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm not contagious. I just have a cough. So I had to cancel. So that's like really exciting news because Rita, I'm surprised she hasn't come out with a book already. It would be cool just to have like a glossary similar to Dr. Melissa Shelton's Essential Oils book, where it just has a glossary of herbs and what they're, how they're beneficial and how to use them. And cause that's basically that's what I'm missing. I have a couple of herbal books, but it would just be nice to have something where I can just go and learn about this herb.
Yes. Yeah. I think there's, so many things I want to hear from her, and about herbs, and, you can get really into like the science of it, but also like what can just the average pet parent do?
Yeah, I know. It would be really cool to have pictures, the pretty pictures, of course, but even pictures like in someone's yard so we can sort of identify what's in our own yard, because that's what's so cool is, that's what I was going to do on the herbal walk, was to just basically go around and be able to identify herbs just out in the wild.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so this next thing that I'm geeking out about this week, my wonderful friend Poppy Phillips has a Facebook group called the Cancer-Free Canine Group, which she had started a couple years ago. After she lost her dog to cancer, she started really investigating like how can we prevent cancer, and she's done these different events online where she'll bring different experts in. And so right now she's having like once a month, a different expert comes in. And this month it is Dr. Connor Brady.
Nice.
And it's a whole 3-day event. So it kicks off on Thursday, July 21st. And you can just join the Cancer-Free Canine group. Again, I'll have a link right in the show notes. It's free to join. Or there's also a sign-up option. If you want to be on the Zoom with him, there's like a different thing. If you want to be on Zoom with him, you can ask questions. Like they'll do a private Q&A after the main feed shuts off. So there's like the upgrade package if you want to do that also. But you can get all the information right for free out of the Facebook group.
Very nice.
So I'm very excited about that. I'll have links for both of those options right in the show notes. And Poppy's just amazing. So stay in the group even after Dr. Connor Brady, because every month she brings on somebody that's completely fabulous.
I love that.
Okay. The next thing.
You've been busy.
But wait, there's more.
No.
So I just found out about something. It's in a similar vein to Animal Biome in that you collect your dog's poop sample and send it in. But this is actually a test for leaky gut, for inflammation, to see how well your dog is digesting their food. And this is from innovativepetlab.com. And I thought this was super cool.
I know. I'm hoping that they give me, well, they offered a free test. I asked them for 2, and I want the big ones. And I was planning on testing, I was either going to test Scout and Apollo, or I would test Zoe and Apollo. But I think I'll do Scout and Apollo, because I think that would just be interesting, not only to compare Scout's results with Animal Biome, but also to compare Scout's results to Apollo. Or maybe I'll do Scout and Zoe since they're siblings and see how their results compare. Because especially with Scout and Zoe, because they started raw at the same time, they used to eat out of the same bowl. And they've lived with us, since they were 6 weeks old. And it would be interesting to see, what their gut looks like having, being in the same household. So.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking of all the people who you hear who don't have access to a holistic veterinarian convenient to them. Mm-hmm. And this is a way to get so much great information, for dogs with chronic digestive issues, for dogs with chronic allergies, or, some kind of issue where you haven't quite been able to put your finger on it yet. And you're trying, you want to do all the things, but maybe your conventional vet is rolling their eyes at you.
Yes, I know, right?
You can go and do this yourself and get all of this great information about what's going on with your dog. And then, take that to your veterinarian, or, it says they give you all kinds of recommendations as well. So I thought this is a great way to empower more pet parents, who are concerned about their dog's health and maybe aren't getting the information that they need on their, from their vet already, and do that on their own. It's not necessarily a cheap thing, but I feel like it would give you really great information when you're when you need help. And I've been in that position where it's like the mystery diagnosis. We know something's wrong, but we don't quite know what yet. And it's just always like more information is better. And so I thought this was really cool.
It'll be interesting to see just how both the Innovative Pet Labs, Animal Biome, and other testing companies how veterinarians can use that information. Because one thing that surprised me was I did Embark because back, years ago when, I don't know, I'm sure that there are plenty of pet bloggers. Of course, there are tons of pet bloggers, but social media used to be me seeing all the other pet bloggers because we were all friends with each other. But that was a long time ago. But back then, there was a time when everybody was doing Embark. And if anyone said, hey, have you ever tried Embark? Do you like it? Some pet blogger would dive into the comments and leave their little link. And so you can go and try it. And so for a long time, I just had serious FOMO when it came to Embark. I tried other DNA tests, but everyone kept talking about it. And I was just like, it's so expensive. I don't really think it's necessary. I have 4 dogs. And then they reached out to me and offered me tests. And I don't think I got them all for free, but I think I got like BOGO deals on them. So I tested all my dogs and I have been using the reports ever since. They have come in handy. Both of our vets have copies of my dog's Embark reports. They've used them with Scout to determine his chemotherapy protocol. They used them with Zoe when she had to have a lump removed to figure out what type of, anesthesia was going to work for her. I mean, it's been really cool. And it's kind of cool just to see the details of my dogs, to see other dogs like their relatives. I even connected with, I think it was one of Rodrigo's siblings.
Oh.
Was it? I think it was one of Rodrigo's siblings a few years back. And so, and we just emailed back and forth for a little bit, but it's kind of cool to see all of that. And with the Animal Biome, I'm now, I don't know if I told you, but I ordered their raw fed dog poop pills.
Oh, yay.
And so Scout started those a couple of days ago. So my vet wanted me to start low and then slowly build up. And so he did start those. But it's just kind of cool to see all of this stuff that, like you said, people can go and at least get a heads up. And instead of doing like the Google searches where you're just finding everything and getting everything wrong, you actually have some actual data that's related to your individual dog that you can start with and start learning from. So it'll be interesting to see how that, changes things.
And that was actually another thing on my list was Animal Biome brought back the raw fed poop pills.
Mm-hmm.
So they had them for a long time. And actually, when we did it with Penny, they had them. And then they seemed to have maybe stopped for like a year or so. And I don't know if it was somehow like a COVID thing or a supply demand kind of issue. But I know like sometimes you had to call them and maybe they could get them. But yes, they made the announcement last week. They're back in stock, back available to everybody. Very exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And I'm looking for them now. I swear there's I don't know why they have a shop button. And for the life of me, I never can see it despite the fact that it's this bright green color. But I'm always looking around like, where is it? But someone said something to me today about the raw fed pills and said something about how it's not. I think they were mistaken, but they were saying that the raw fed pills weren't actually from all raw fed dogs. They were just like mostly raw fed dogs. And I was just like, well, that's kind of, bad stuff, but I'm looking at here and it is raw fed dogs. It doesn't say anything about mostly or partially or anything like that. It just says raw fed dogs. So I love that. So I'm excited.
I think there was kind of like a hybrid time or something, but yeah, the announcement that they just made is,
Yeah, they had I'm sort of bummed out because they had a flash sale a couple of weeks ago and I should have bought the pills then, but I wasn't sure if I was going to or not. I wanted my veterinarian to look at them. And now I wish I would have just went ahead and bought them because it looks like I'm going to need 2 bottles of the pills because of Scout's size. He's going to go through the first bottle pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because I think it's 1 pill twice a day when he finally, because we're working up to that dosage.
Yeah. I will say they do sales, like I get their emails all the time. So
okay,
they seem to always have a pretty good deal going.
Hopefully. But I did use my Capital One gave me a discount code when I bought the first one. So yay.
Oh, nice.
And so, but yeah, he's doing really good on him. Scout's been really fascinating. So something that I'm nerding out on. So Scout went for acupuncture on Monday, and the veterinarian felt his lymph nodes, and she's like, "Oh, his lymph nodes are bigger." Which, you know, in cancer world, or I should say, canine lymphoma world, that means the cancer is back, but not necessarily, because my dog, his lymph nodes grow and decrease. Not all the time, but they do. Usually it's a stress event. So if he has to go to the vet, like when I locked him in the car that time, his lymph nodes got bigger. Sometimes when he has to go to the vet, his lymph nodes will get bigger. It just depends on how he's doing. So it's just sort of like the fact that you can feel his lymph nodes. It's one of those where, because they can be gone back down in a couple days. And it was like, not, you would think that you just, I guess I thought I felt something, but I didn't. But his lymph nodes, they haven't gotten bigger, but they haven't gotten bigger beyond what the veterinarian felt on Monday, I should say. And but I just threw everything at him because I called his oncologist and, you know, like, do we have to cancel, you know, scrap the plans of stretching out the chemo and go back to a normal weekly routine? And she's like, nope. You know, he's eating well, he's sleeping well, he's, you know, has solid poop, he's active and playful, he's his normal self. And so let's just keep going with it. Because she's like, he's going to have chemo in a couple days anyway. So the lymph nodes will, or, you know, supposedly they should go down then. And if they do, then we don't have anything to worry about. And I'm excited because after it's now been 7 months that he's been doing chemotherapy, and it's just too much. You know, the first time around, it was 6 months, and then we stopped, and he stayed in remission for 4 additional months, which was really good. But this time around, I want to back off the chemo because I worry about just what type of damage is he doing after it's been on here so long. And, you know, it's still going to be part of the what's it called? The regimen, but I just don't want it to be the main part. Instead, I want to lean towards the acupuncture, the medicinal herbs, the mushrooms, and the other things that I'm giving to him. And, you know, and, you know, give a chance for like the animal biome to correct his gut health. So that strengthens his immune system. And, yeah, it's been kind of it's been kind of interesting because he's doing so great. And it's just like, wow, all right, well, there we go. So, I mean, it's weird to not be freaking out right now because, you know, if this had been a year ago, I'd be absolutely in panic mode, you know, like my dog is dying and I'm freaking out. But no, he's doing so well. So I think we're now officially February, March, April, May, June, July, August. No, June, July. I don't remember. February, March, April, May, June, July. So this is 6. So that would be 18 months. Yeah. So I was right earlier. I thought it was 18 months post-diagnosis.
Wow.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's one of those where I'm so lucky to have a traditional oncologist that's so like, let's just see. He's doing all this other stuff. Let's see how it works. And it's just like, what? Okay, thanks. So it feels pretty good.
Yeah. It's so great when you have people on your team that are like all on the same page and you don't feel like you're fighting anybody or
yeah. Because I mean, that's just it, is like, I'm trying so hard to keep everything as stress-free as possible for him and for me. And okay, so this is like really sweet. My holistic vet, not this appointment, but okay, so this appointment, she said something, but the last appointment. So we went on the 4th of July. And she was just like, so how are you doing? And she was like, how is he doing? And I'm like, oh, he's doing good. So we were talking about him. And she goes, how are you doing? How's your stress level? And I'm like, oh my God, thank you for asking. I'm good. And then this last time when she felt his lymph nodes and she had me feel them, and I was like, yeah, I can feel them. And she was like, you did not do this. This is just the way. And she's like, and we got this, but this is not your fault. Don't go home thinking that you did something. And I'm like looking at her like, and I was like, in my head at the moment, I was like, I know I didn't do this, but I was just like, oh, thank you. But then a day later, I'm like, I have her voice in my head so that I didn't spiral, right. You know, as I start getting into my own head. Right. And it was just like, that is so thoughtful. Yeah. I love that. She's really cool.
that's really special. Because a lot of times there are vets who are great vets, but they might not have like the bedside manner kind of it down,
Yeah.
or either with your dog or with you. Like those are each separate things. So it's like, when you can get like all three of those factors, like that's so great.
I mean, because I'm not really a people person. I am at times, like I can do it for a minimal period of time, but for the most part, I would not like a job where I had to deal with human beings on a regular basis. So the fact that, not only, because I can understand someone being more connected to the animals than the humans, but having people who are really good with both animal and humans, it's like, wow,
yeah,
that's pretty cool. You're special.
Yeah.
So she was really nice. So anything else on your list?
The last thing I have is I'm just loving being a part of Dr. Josie's group. I know
still got to join.
We like briefly mentioned it last week. So last week was like my first like full week in it. So every Thursday night she does a group meditation on Zoom. I think she does it on Monday mornings too, but that one's harder for me to make.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had like a happy hour last Friday on Zoom to kind of get to know everybody. And she's just always sharing just these amazing things. And then she has these different Q&As, and it's just fabulous. I just can't say enough good things about it. And I just love, she's like right in that spot that I love where like you have like holistic care and veterinary knowledge, but also looking at things from like the bigger woo-woo kind of perspective, and learning some of the like, ancient teachings, and, and she's done all those kinds of studies, and it's like, I'm like kind of right in that intersection of things also. And so that's why like, I feel like it's such a good fit. And, maybe 10 years ago, I was into maybe the health stuff, but maybe not as much of the other stuff, but it's like right now, like that's a great, like Venn diagram intersection of like where I'm at with things. So it's just really cool.
That is so nice. Did you just do the basic membership?
Yeah.
I think I'll do that because now I have FOMO for that. Well, that's exciting. And that's a good review for it, because I think maybe I was waiting a little bit for it because I meant to sign up last week. But it's funny because I've always wanted to do something similar to that, but I never did, because I really think things like that should be led by a veterinarian, or, basically someone who has all of that knowledge. And I never believed that people would leave Facebook. But now I think after the past few years, people are so fed up with social media that it would be nice to just be able to learn in an environment that is quieter.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've been doing daily videos. In fact, I have it uploaded, but I need to publish it tonight, answering questions. And one question that I got was, do you need, if you're feeding like a complete raw diet, so in a commercial raw that's supposed to be nutritionally complete, do you need to add supplements? And my answer is no, you don't. It's just, if it's complete, if your dog is healthy, you don't need to add anything to balance it out. But if you realize that your dog needs support in certain areas, then, you can of course supplement if the diet isn't enough. But, ultimately I see so many people starting, people who are new to raw, and they start with what supplements that I need. And then they'll get 50, 60 responses of people listing all these supplements. And it's like, do you have that much money? Because that's like hundreds and hundreds of dollars in this discussion. And how do you know your dog actually needs these things?
Yeah.
And I'm getting these questions all the time where people want to know, I have a puppy and I'm going to do this. What supplements do I need? And I'm just sort of like, no, it doesn't work that way. And, but I like the idea of taking things offline into an area where, we can actually have just really in-depth conversations, not these quick flybys as we're scrolling through social media. And we have experts on hand to, sort of, I don't know. It's sort of like, I guess you and I having the conversation that I have with you is far different than a conversation that I have with someone who's brand new to raw feeding,
Right.
especially if they're coming to me after spending a whole bunch of time in raw feeding groups. And I'm just like, wow, everything that you just said is wrong on so many levels. And it's like, it's not your fault, because I used to believe that crap too. But it's just like, I think that although I think there will always be a place for raw feeding groups on Facebook, I do think that it's a dangerous place for anyone who's new to raw or has a dog that's sick. And, I totally get people wanting to get some comfort or just thinking that they have a quick question, but it's just having so many people pipe in and say things that are, where I'm just like, wow, that's wrong too. And I mean, it's just astounding. So I'm pretty excited about her community, because I feel like we'll be going back to school a little bit. We can really nerd out on things.
Yeah, she's had some interesting podcasts that she shared, and so I'm like, oh god, Tim needs to listen to this right now. Like, this is a typical Tim thing. So he's been enjoying all of my information also.
Nice. Well, I think it's going to be pretty amazing. I'm pretty excited.
And there's just a lot of awesome people who have joined, so it's really great company to be in.
Oh, good. How big is it? Do you get a sense of that?
I haven't checked, because more people have signed up recently, but I'm not sure.
I think it's gonna. I'm pretty excited. I'm signing up right now as we're talking.
Maybe 40 or 50.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, I just signed up and I'm really excited. So I haven't really been nerding out on anything recently, but one thing I have been doing is animal essentials. So it started with their, I think, herbal green alternative. Someone recommended it to me for Scout last year, and I checked it out, and it's a really cool supplement. It's, boosts the immune system and has all of these cancer fighting type of things in it. And I was just like, okay, this is kind of cool. And I started adding it to everyone's meals. And I now just add it to my meal prep rather than spooning it into everyone's bowl. But there's that. And then I started looking at other things that Animal Essentials offers. And that's when I found their mushroom defense is what it's called. And it's a tincture. So I was like, oh, this will be nice, because Rodrigo he's getting really weird about his food. So he's back onto cooked, and I'm cooking for him. And he isn't a fan of the powders. So I can't add a bunch of supplements to his meal. And he won't, with with Scout, I can just throw capsules in his bowl and he'll just eat it with everything else. I don't have to do anything special. With Rodrigo, I have to sneak things in. And he's pretty smart. So I thought a tincture might work better for them. So I kept looking, and I found they have a tincture for senior support, a tincture, the mushrooms, and a tincture. I don't remember what it's called. It starts with an A. I can't remember what it's called. I know it's in the other room, but it's a word that I've never heard of. And I decided to start, I'm going to do a deep dive into these supplements and find out what is this herb and how well does it work. And I was really, I'm seeing if I can look it up. Astragalus. I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Yes.
Astragalus. But it's good for the immune system.
Yes.
But what's interesting is that it's mostly used in combination with other herbs, but with Animal Essentials tincture is just astragalus.
It's an adaptogen, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it can kind of adjust itself to fill in the gaps. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Yes. And what I found interesting about it, and so maybe you can help me with this, because I did not understand this. So it says that, it's great. It's great for if you have a dog that's doing chemo, it's a good, complementary supplement for that. But it's good for boosting the immune system. But then it says, if you have a dog that's taking drugs that suppress the immune system, or they have an autoimmune disease where their immune system is just being suppressed, you shouldn't add this herb. But I would think that it would be the opposite, because you're trying to boost the immune system if you have a dog that's immune system is suppressed, wouldn't you want to do that? So do you know anything about that?
Just going off the top of my head, I just always feel like, yeah, astragalus is one where it's like, I would want to ask like the holistic vet or something if that's like okay to give with whatever protocol you're on. And I've always seen it, I guess, I mean, not that you can't use it individually, but
yeah,
I know a lot of products use it as like a blend because it like does mix so well with so many other things. So it's interesting to see it on its own. Yeah, that's something that I personally would definitely like get guidance on.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. So I'm still reading up on it. I tasted it. It has a spicy taste to it. It actually tastes pretty good. I like to taste my dog's supplements, the tinctures. I like to taste the tinctures. So I know what they're going to like, especially if it's something that was made with alcohol, because I want to know how strong the alcohol is. And if it's too strong, then I just save it for myself. I actually have one supplement that's like that. It's for mushrooms. And that's something that I give to myself. And then my dogs have a non-alcohol based one.
So Angela Ardolino on her Your Natural Dog podcast, she has a mushroom guy. And it was so fascinating. She actually did like a 2-part interview with him. Really, I mean, talk about nerding out, man. I mean, this guy was on like a whole other level with mushrooms and the mycosphere. I don't even know if I'm saying that
I know
right.
what you're talking about.
And yeah, I was like, whoa. And he actually, his products are all grown here in the US, because I know some of the products, you know, come from China. And so Angie was really like, I really want a product that's here in the US and also that's grown outdoors as opposed to like in a, you know, contained, covered environment.
Right.
Because they do get so much from the soil and from rain and, you know, sun and all that. So she has some new products that I really want to try, but I don't have like a super good reason to buy it other than like I just want it, you know.
I know what you mean. I do that.
But you know, but I do just believe in the power of medicinal mushrooms so much, and she has like different blends for, you know, one's kind of like a cancer support, and one is like this was interesting for senior dogs that get the I keep thinking of the term sundowners, but you know, it's almost kind of like the canine dementia, canine cognitive dysfunction. So she actually has a blend that's like kind of supporting that in the brain. And so I thought that was really fascinating too. But yeah, I was, you know, I'm in the car a lot. So I listen to, you know, geek out on podcast stuff all the time.
I love CBD dog health. I love all the stuff that they have.
Yeah. I mean, she really like curates, you know, the products.
Scout, he takes the Ease twice a day, and he's not a fan because I put it on his gums, and he's not a fan of that. And I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner, but I decided, why don't I give him a treat? Like every time, let me put it on your gums and you get a treat. And he was like totally down for that. And it's so hilarious because now he'll lift his head up a little bit because he knows I'm going to lift his head up to do it on his gums. And then he looks for the treat. And so he gets his treat twice a day. And he does really good. I finished my book and finished rewriting my book last night.
Wonderful. Congrats.
It's not good enough. As I was writing it, I was just sort of like, because I did it based on the alphabet, because the book originally was years ago. They still host the event, but I don't participate anymore. I should, because it's a lot of fun. It's called Blogging from A to Z. And it's every April, and you basically write a post every day except for Sundays for the month of April. And then every post is, you know, you do A and then to B and then C. And a lot of people, I mean, it's blogs all over the place. And the whole idea is, you know, it's supposed to be for community. And then we go to each other's blogs and we read and comment and things like that. But that last part I never really got into. And so I won't sign up to participate anymore because I'm not going to go to other blogs. And the reason why is because there's some great blogs out there, but there's so many people participating. It's hard to find the blogs that, really speak to me and that I really do want to follow. And so I just stopped signing up, but I continue doing it on my blog because it's a lot of fun. It works on 30-day months are the best months to do this. And so I took a month. I did it the first year when I transitioned my blog to writing about raw feeding. I did it that year, and that was the first year I did it. Then I did it every year until one day I was just like, I bet you I can download all of this and turn it into a book. And so I did. And that's what Novice's Guide to Raw Feeding for Dogs came from. I'm thinking of taking this book now, instead of making it like volume 2, I'm thinking of changing the name completely and really leaning into the alphabet. So I'm going through and I put out a call for more questions, using the alphabet as a guide. And that way I can organize it a lot better. Because as I was going through and, I just basically going through the book and rewriting, deleting sections. I deleted a lot. I probably deleted 20 pages out of the book. But I'm going through and rewriting it. And I'm seeing that, like I have a whole section about fasting, but it's under V because it's near the vegetables, because I'll do a partial fast and a full fast when actually that should be up with F. And so I'm moving stuff around in the book. And I was just like, it was late last night. And I was like, I'm going to stop before I totally mess up this book. I'm going to click save so I don't lose any of my work. And then I'm going to ask people so that I can start because what I need to do now is basically the edit and the formatting, because it's completely plain. And my goal is to have it up on Amazon by the end of the month or the first week of August.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I'm pretty excited about it.
So exciting. Yes.
I'm pretty excited about it.
I have your other book.
Thank you. I have a copy here. And I'm thinking of, I might even make it. I mean, I think this is a good sized book. I have a picture in here, but I don't think I'm going to do, this is actually really nice. I haven't looked at this in a long time. This is really well done. So I have to make sure to just basically go through and clean all of this up and make it pretty. And I was going to change the cover and change everything about it and have it be something a little more fun. But it's been interesting because I'm going through and I'm like, wow, I don't believe any of that anymore. It's scrapped. And, oh, that's wrong. We don't need to talk about that. And so it's been pretty fun to just go through and rewrite it. But now I'm going to go through and really do basically 24 chapters. Is it
26?
26? Is it? How many letters are in the alphabet? Yeah, 26 chapters of information. So I'm pretty excited about it.
All right.
Yes. It's almost done. It's so funny because someone said the other day, you should have a book. And I'm like, I have 2. I just haven't touched them in years. So
I have been having a similar thing with trying to get the Dog Health Journal formatted into a physical product instead of a digital downloaded product. And that has just taken way longer than I thought it would ever take.
I've thought about coming up with something similar to that. And I'm like, because I just use a, what's it called? A planner, but it would be nice to have something. I created something just sort of like to test it out. That just shows, like, hey, it's time to weigh your dog. And, and listing out just little things for people to get into the habit of tracking. But my thought was, I don't know what would need to be added. There's so many, I don't want it to be overwhelming, but I also don't want it to be something that people are like, yeah, I'm not going to keep up with this and walk away from it. So I was just sort of like, okay, but I did buy a new planner and I love it. And I'm this time around, I'm going to use it all the way until next June. Are you showing me a planner? Oh my God. That's from that. What is it? Jen Cicero?
Yes. Yeah. You are a badass.
I love that. I love that.
It speaks to me, and it has great like motivational things on every page that are helpful too.
I have a huge stack of stickers I am not buying anymore. The dollar store is a magical place because I went there and found so many stickers, and I was just like on the floor going through. There's so many. Yes. Those
This
are
comes
so
with
cool.
its own stickers. Yeah.
I love stickers. And so I was doing that. So I went last night. Whiteout is on sale at the store for $1 each because I wrote a bunch of stuff and I was like, oh, I don't want that stuff there. So I did a messy whiteout thing and now I'll go and put stickers on it. And I went through and found all the pet holidays that would make sense for my blog and put that throughout. And now I got to get back to work because I haven't published a blog post in quite some time. So eventually I'll get back to it. But
well, I shared a reel this afternoon, which was very exciting because I haven't done a lot of reels, about my first fermentation of my green Juju goat milk.
Oh, and how did it go?
It was awesome.
What did you use? What did you put in it?
So I used, I'm going to butcher the name of it. It's called Saccharomyces boulardii or something like that. I always think
that they need to start coming up with nicknames for these bacteria because no one should have to say that.
Exactly. So actually what's the reason I chose that one is because when I have done both Penny and Nino's animal biome test, that was something that came up as something that would be beneficial for them because that is actually like a healthy yeast-based probiotic. So it's like slightly different than some of the other ones. And it's great for, it has like prebiotic kind of properties to it as well. So that was the one I decided I'd start with. And so I just used one capsule to start with because that was 5 billion CFUs. And it lets out so much, stuff that like the container got like all
really
big and,
did you ferment it like on the counter?
Yeah, I just left it in the sink. Yeah.
Did you like with the lid, what did you do? Did you like take it off and put paper towel over it?
I just kind of sat the lid on top of it. I didn't like screw it on. Well, and then there was a sort of funny miscommunication with my husband because usually if I leave the goat milk in the sink, it's because it needs to, defrost or to thaw out. And so he like came home from work and was like, why is this in the sink? It was here this morning. It was thawed out. And he like put it in the fridge. So luckily I was only a couple minutes behind him because I came home and I'm like, no. And so luckily it was only in there for like 5 or 10 minutes, but it still worked.
That is so funny. Yeah, speaking of animal biome again, on this past weekend was the Arlington Street Fair, which I love. It's so much fun. I have a friend, Jennifer, actually a couple friends named Jennifer, but my other friend, Jennifer Savage, she has a dog treat and she also makes dog soaps. And she gave me this really cute dish towel that has a dog little face on it. And there goes my dog's about to bark. And she gave me one that's so pretty. I love it so much that I'm actually going to paint a bathroom in my house to match this towel because it's so cool. But, and basically I'm just painting the bathroom a dark gray, not too dark, but just a dark-ish gray. And then I already have blue prints and stuff on the wall of the bathroom. Johan and I don't share a bathroom because I need my space because I have a lot of stuff.
Oh my God, dude, that is that is my dream, is not having to share a bathroom.
Yes, I need, and what's funny is that because my stepson was so surprised, it's like you gave him the big bathroom because he has the master bath, and I'm like, I'm fine. I love my little bathroom and my little space. I love it. It's perfect. And now I've always wanted to paint it, but I just didn't know what color. And when I saw this towel, I was just like, yep, this is what I'm doing. But so I saw her. So it was fun to see her and catch up with her. She and I met like 100 years ago when we first started doing like these local festivals to promote. She has her business and then I have Keep the Tail Wagging. And we showed up at a festival wearing the exact same shirt. And it's funny because it's this dog mom shirt that has all these words all over it. It's a coral color. It's been discontinued. They don't make it anymore. And and so we took a picture because we were both wearing that shirt and we have been friends ever since. So it was wonderful seeing her and hanging out with her. They have a booth with crystals there. So that was fun. And so I got some crystals and they actually gave me a couple for free because my energy was so good. Oh. And I was asking questions about everything. And so that was fun. But the biggest part was that, I mean, we should talk about this someday. The reason why I don't do festivals anymore is because I think I said this before, the number of overweight dogs. And I was going to write a blog post about it. So I started taking pictures of every single overweight dog I saw, which was a lot. And I started feeling bad. So I deleted all the pictures because I felt like I'm just sitting here judging these people. And I don't know if their dogs have a health issue, but it's like astounding. And you're seeing dogs. I mean, granted, no dog should be overweight, but the number of dogs, like when you see an Australian Shepherd or a Husky, and, you see these high energy active dogs and they look like a little Ottoman. And I'm just like, no, that your dog is. But anyway, another story. So while I was there judging all these people and their dogs, I got an idea about the green Juju. So I walked away and I called Animal Biome and left them a message to say, hey, have you guys seen green Juju's goat milk? And, we can, we can ferment it overnight, adding, and did you ferment it overnight?
Yeah, for 24 hours. Yeah.
And I was like, and we can add our own probiotics to it. And I was like, and so I was thinking about it and I was looking at the report for Scout and thinking, maybe I can add the bacteria that, maybe he's low in and do that this way. But then I was like, I started thinking, my first thought was just to go to a local supplement store and look at what they have. But that's for humans. And I'm trying to correct the gut of a dog. So that's when I decided to call you guys to find out, what do you guys think? Do you have like a supplement that I can add? And what are your thoughts? And so they called me back. And so we talked about it and I explained what I was looking for. And she was just like, I'm going to talk to the team about this and call you back. And I'm like, okay, yeah, no hurry, whatever. So I went about my judging day at the festival and like
you make Judgerson.
Less than an hour later, they called me back. And it was like, I am like blown away because my first experience with Animal Biome was not positive. I was not going to recommend that company to anyone. I thought that they were rude. I thought they were mean. I had just the back and forths that I had with them via email were perfect examples of why at some point in time you should pick up the phone and start talking to people because it was just getting worse and worse and worse. And this second time around, I am like, I'm just sitting like, by the time we finished talking, I was just like, would you be willing to come onto a podcast? Because my friend Erin and I would really like to talk to you guys. And they were like, oh yeah, we'll let them know. And you just let us know what you want to do. And because it was just like so much fun as they were telling me, okay, so this whole long story is for me to say that it's not a good idea to add probiotics to our dog's diet. And I've been hearing this a little bit over the years. I've had people reach out to me and say, hey, have you heard this? I've even had like veterinarians saying, hey, have you written anything about this? And I have sort of like tried to dive deep into these different topics, but I can never find anything online to like help me learn like, well, why shouldn't we give our dogs probiotics? But now I know. And the reason why is because giving them probiotics on a regular basis will replace the native bacteria in the gut and it'll stop populating. So basically, and this is what I was told, by, I can't remember who told me this, but I feel like it was someone that I really respected told me this. And I was just like, what? But is basically, we're replacing the native bacteria. It's not going to repopulate and we're creating more health issues by adding a digestive supplement on a regular basis. Now, adding it every now and then to help, like, because your dog has loose stool or diarrhea or, something where you see that your dog needs some benefits, that's fine. But on a daily basis without any reason, it's not a good idea. I mean, there are people who have dogs with health issues where that may be for that individual dog, a regular dosage of a probiotic is necessary. But for all of us, for all of the people out in the world that I have told over the years, hey, just add a probiotic to your dog's diet, I was wrong. I was so very wrong. And now it's just so exciting to know why I was wrong.
Yeah, that is interesting because I don't actually like give them a probiotic like every day or anything like that. But that's super interesting to understand. Yeah, that's
because
why.
a lot of the supplement, well, I shouldn't say a lot of them. The few supplements that I was looking into recently, because I was trying to understand, okay, here's Scout's report. This is where he's low in. Where can I get this to repopulate? And I could not get it out of a supplement because many of them only have one probiotic.
Yeah.
And what's even crazier is it's not something native to a dog's gut. It's sort of like a general probiotic that humans have, that's in a lot of supplements, whether it be pet or human. And so I'm talking to them about that and they're like, yeah, absolutely. You're right. It's not for the dogs. And so that's when we went back to the Gut Restore and it was just like, I know I ordered it. I'm going to start giving it, but it's yay. So I learned something new.
Yeah. So, because what they do with the fecal microbiome transplant, like that, the whole point of that is to, repopulate the gut. But yeah, that's doing it like on a grand scale as opposed to, one strain or something.
Well, it's also dog related because we're basically taking it from a dog and giving it to a dog rather than going from a human or to a dog. Not that that's, but human supplements. And also because, the supplement industry is kind of the wild, wild west. It's just, you don't really know what you're getting, where it's coming from. And so I'm pretty excited about it.
So what I'd like to do is like, how do you like merging that information with like, it's good to have for them to have a diverse microbiome, like it's good for them to, is that more just like from a whole food perspective? I'm just thinking of like Billy, so, talking about the microbiome and doing these the different ferments and, so I guess like it's kind of like, how do you kind of merge like that information?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of overwhelming. And my thought was that, unless, with the exception of the Gut Restore, which are the poop pills by Animal Biome, that for my dogs, it's better for me to support their gut with whole food rather than with supplements.
Right.
And so, they have the natural bacteria that is in the goat's milk, that's in kefir, the fermented fish stock, that's something that's better than me going and getting the supplement, a random supplement from the store. Right. Still, I'm not going to do anything now because of the Gut Restore. I'm going to have him go through probably 2 rounds of that. And then they said, wait 2 weeks and then have him tested again. And so I'm thinking of doing that and then seeing where we are there. But for my other dogs, it just basically slowed me down, whereas it's like, well, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do, but I definitely want to start looking for probiotics that are specifically for dogs and something that has a few strains in it. Or if it's only one strain, have it, again, be specific to a dog rather than just be something general. Because, I have my goat's milk in the freezer and it's waiting, but that's what I'm going to be interested in doing now. I don't want to waste my goat's milk and by throwing something random in there. So I want to really give it some thought. It would be easier if I had all my dogs tested. That way I know what I'm doing, but I'm not going to do that. But it's kind of, it's a kind of interesting philosophy, because I've been hearing that a lot. And I don't want to ask a company, that makes a supplement, like, what are your thoughts on this? Because I'm sure they have an answer. It's not in their interest to tell people, no, you should not be giving this to your dog on a daily basis. But it's been kind of cool.
Yeah. And, and I'm excited. I haven't been able to find it near me yet, but like the new green Juju products, like the beets and
the golden paste.
Yeah. Because when Billy was on and talking about the wild ferments and how you're getting like a different, strain each time, different fermentation each time, like that would be like a great way to introduce, diverse microbiome, enhancing foods, in a whole food manner.
Yeah. I think if anything, what I will do initially, because we talked about this when we were talking to him, is I want to add the Just Greens to a bottle and see what happens. And I also want to, when it's available, their golden paste, I want to try that and see what happens. So we'll see. And so I did something fun on social media and no one responded. I mean, I got questions, but I didn't get any unpopular opinions.
Oh,
No one gave me, and I was looking so forward to it, because it's just like, it's always interesting what people, like what they think and what they say, because I know that I've surprised people. And what gave me the idea was, when people ask me about traditional medicine, like I think 3 people in the past month have asked me about antibiotics. And in fact, I think the video that I'm uploading to YouTube tonight is about antibiotics. And people are surprised that I don't have a problem giving my dogs antibiotics. I mean, it's not something that they're going to take on a daily basis for the rest of their lives. But no, I don't have a problem giving my dogs antibiotics. If nothing else is going to work, if my dogs need support or help, then I will give them antibiotics, and then just have a conversation about how to correct their microbiome, maybe have it tested afterwards, or like what you mentioned, ask them to, do the test to make sure we're giving them the right antibiotics. But other than that, I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. And that surprised a lot of people. So it was an unpopular opinion. So I was wondering, do you have any unpopular opinions?
I have a few. Mine are, I guess, more like, I don't know, general, or else things I've experienced. So the first one you'll definitely understand right away is like, when your dog has a skin issue, it means that there's a gut issue. Mm-hmm. And so, when you're seeing allergies, when you're seeing the skin problems, it's a gut issue, not a topical issue, I guess.
Yeah.
So that might be popular in certain circles, but I don't know if you've ever tried to explain that connection to somebody who's never heard that before. It is not popular.
Yeah, I overheard a conversation. It's funny that you say that, of a couple of days ago, where someone was talking about, and they were talking about the topical thing that they were trying and that it worked, but then it didn't work. And it's painful, but I turn and I walk in the other direction, because I do not want to tempt myself, because I want to pop in and go, well, have you thought about the gut, and do a big lecture about the immune system and the connection to the gut? And because, some people are open to that type of stuff, some people aren't. And I found that, when I'm at these festivals, it's a different type of person, pet parent that I'm meeting at these festivals. They're not necessarily the 2.0 pet parent. These are people who, you need to meet them where they are, and where they are is, buying kibble from the grocery store, and, they've never heard of a lot of things. And so it's one of those where, I leave it up to other people, because what'll happen is sometimes someone will be having a conversation with someone and they'll be like, you need to talk to Kimberly. And then they'll bring me over, and then I feel more comfortable sharing my thoughts. But I just don't want to interrupt a conversation where I'm like, no, everything you just said is wrong.
So just as an aside about going to those like dog, festivals, the thing that drives me crazy is like the lack of awareness of like dog body language and
Oh my
like
God.
how many times just through like the sheer patience of like a particular dog, things don't blow up and turn into like some big scuffle or fight when one dog just has really bad behavior and like, you know, or somebody's got like a flexi lead and they're just like not even paying attention and you're like, oh my God.
So many things. I mean, it's funny because I feel like, so there's a movie, Signs, with Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix. And in the movie, I guess what happened is there was a sheriff and she's explaining what was happening, that old Mrs. So-and-so went down to the hardware store and she was spitting on all of the skateboarders because she was mad because everyone's skateboarding is making a bunch of noise and she didn't like it. So she went down to the hardware store and she's spitting on all the skateboarders and she was like, and she must have had a cold because she made a mess. And that's how I feel about dog stuff. Like, I'm the person that by the time I spend an entire day watching people walk around with their dogs, I'm going to go to PetSmart and just start spitting on things because I'm so aggravated. But the flexi leashes, I can't stand. Just use a regular leash. I mean, you don't have no control when you do that. And you
they're
know,
dangerous. Like
people
dangerous.
reaching their head to pat a dog on the head, and the dog is like trying to, because they're like, where's your hand going? And it's like that type of thing. We saw a person, it was hot. I mean, it's not hot like where you are, but it's hot. It was our first really warm weekend. And so dogs were tired and hot and people are walking them around on concrete. And we saw this little dog that was just being drugged. And we were just like, you need to pick up your dog. This is unacceptable. I mean, you're dragging your dog. Your dog is exhausted. And just little things like that. The other thing was, and this is probably another unpopular opinion, little dogs that aren't allowed to walk. It drives me crazy. I understand the point of having a stroller, especially if you're in a crowded place, because you have this little dog and people aren't paying attention. And so it can be dangerous. But I really like it when I see people allowing their small dogs to be dogs.
Yeah.
And we were like, yay, thanks for letting your dog walk. And I mean, I wasn't saying that, but other people were saying that. And it's just like, it's sad that that's what we're doing, is we're congratulating people for allowing their dogs to be dogs. Because it's just like, yes, it's a small dog, but you don't have to carry it everywhere. And you don't have to, roll it everywhere. You can just let your dog be a dog and have exposure to grass and fresh air and sniff other butts and things like that. So, yeah.
So my next unpopular opinion, and this is one from personal experience, pit bull type dogs in particular seem to be especially prone to tearing their CCL, like the knee ACL ligament. Mm-hmm. And 99 times out of 100, you're going to hear that your dog needs to have surgery. There's a specific surgery called a TPLO. If you actually look at what they're doing in the surgery, it's really kind of brutal because they have to like break the dog's leg and put in this like titanium rod. So anyway, my unpopular opinion is that if your dog tears their CCL, they don't need surgery. I understand why a lot of people have surgery, and that could vary on a case-by-case basis. For instance, if I had a 2-year-old dog that was extremely active, I might feel differently about it than when it happened with my 12-year-old dog. Yeah. My 12-year-old girl who was already slowing down. So Kahlua was our CCL girl. And we did a combination of things. And, we did a knee brace. We did all kinds of, supportive, supplements and nutraceuticals and things. And now, knowing what I know now, that you can use ozone injections, and there's a ton of things that you can do to avoid having surgery if your dog tears a CCL. And a lot of times what happens is your dog starts limping, you go to your vet, they say go to see the orthopedic surgeon. Tim has this saying, when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Mm-hmm. So if you go to a surgeon, they're going to tell you need surgery. And so, if you're not interested in doing surgery or you're interested in the other options, look to like the rehabilitative vets, the places like where they're doing like the swimming, underwater treadmills and stuff like that. They can come up with like a whole way for the body to stabilize itself without having surgery. Like I said, there can be a lot of variables that you're looking at with your dog's size and age and activity level and stuff. But
it's also hard because if you get the surgery, as I understand it, there's a good chance that the other knee will blow too, because now
either way, yeah. Once one goes, the other one's
it's like it's taking on all the weight, and so it's gonna go next. And it's like, do you want to have 2 surgeries? And having a dog be down for that,
it's a brutal surgery for your dog to go through. The recovery, I mean, it looks like Frankenstein. They're miserable for a long period of time. You have to keep them on like strict crate rest. Like it's a brutal part for the pet parent to have to go through. And and a lot of dogs, you get through that rough time and they're great. There's also some literature saying that there's a connection between dogs that get these implants and having certain forms of cancer.
Yeah.
And that actually happened to a friend of mine also. And that was one of the big reasons why I didn't want to do the surgery when it happened with Kahlua. So anyway, I just think it shouldn't be an automatic, oh, this happened, I got to have the surgery, is I guess the unpopular opinion. There's really a million different supportive things that you can do.
Yeah. And especially because it's not going to, there's no going back. There's no repairing that ligament,
right?
That it's done. And it's just sort of like, it's basically a big lifestyle shift. And I think, I did my dog, Sydney, she had a partial cruciate tear, and I allowed her to heal naturally. And it took a long time. It was one of those where the veterinarian was just like, you don't need to have surgery. This will be fine. Just give it like a month. Try a year.
Yeah.
Because there's the time, you have to, she would heal, she would do good. And then we had to basically retrain her because she could no longer do zoomies because that was going to damage it again. And we had to like really watch her to make sure she didn't do that. And then there was the keeping the weight off, because she did gain a lot of weight because she wasn't as active, but we had to get that weight off of her because there was a lot, but we didn't do the brace. But if I had known about the braces, I found out about those when she had healed. And I was like, oh, these are really cool. The big thing that was so great for her was WinPro, the supplement, the joint supplement. It was a game changer for her. But before that, it was just basically boosting her immune system so her body could heal and making sure that she got some exercise, but not too much exercise. And that she, she wasn't jumping up and down on things. And that was it was possible. But the person that really impressed me was Ronnie Lejeune of Perfectly Rawsome. Her dog, I think it was Loki before he passed. I'm pretty sure, years before he passed, he had some type of cruciate injury. I don't know which one it was, but she did it. She healed him naturally. And it was, one of those where she was so confident about doing that it's always been in my head that I would try and do that. Because it's just like, it's not impossible.
Yeah, so Kahlua was actually part of a published study about knee braces for rehabilitating dogs. So it was nice. Like, that had to have been over 10 years ago now. And now there's like stem cells. They can do stem cell injections and things too. So there's really a lot of cool things that are going on out there that have come a long way in the 10 years, since I was dealing with that.
Very nice.
Okay, so my next one is, and you'll totally understand this one too, right? Is like, you can do everything right. You can feed raw from a puppy. You can do everything right, and your dog might still get cancer.
Yeah.
And, and that just sort of comes with, there's genetic factors, there's environmental factors, Somebody said to me one time after my breast cancer, and I know that how they meant it, but they were kind of like, so why do you think you got it? Like, kind of like, what did I do wrong? Right. And I knew how they meant it, but there's still that part of you that thinks like, oh God, did I do something wrong? And I really think as pet parents, especially the ones of us who are so obsessed with health and wellness, that, we really can't blame ourselves. All we can do is the best that we can do.
Yeah.
And then, you play the cards that you're dealt and you try to just keep making the best decisions. And that's all anybody can ask. And it's not that anybody ever did anything wrong.
Yeah. I 100% agree. I mean, I think for every dog, I learned something that can help my other dogs. So from Sydney, I learned a lot about cancer and herbs and support groups and things like that. And so I was able to arm myself with a lot of information. With Scout, I know that cancer isn't a death sentence. And, and not only that, but, it's funny because a year ago, I had such a different view of his cancer. Whereas today, because we've been at it for so long and I know my dog so well, that it doesn't freak me out. And so, it's funny because I think, granted, I don't think, we should blame ourselves, but I do think that we should do everything we can to understand our dogs, because that is going to keep us from spiraling when something goes wrong. Because it's like with his lymph nodes, because I know his lymph nodes get bigger and smaller. I know I basically just watch them. So if his lymph nodes grow, I watch them to make sure they're not continuing to grow. And if they don't, if over several days they just stay the same size or even shrink, then it's nothing to worry about. If they do grow and get bigger, then it's called the oncologist and we have to change protocols. And it's as simple as that. There's no need to get freaked out or start crying or, oh my God, this is the end, because he's fine. I mean, and just really paying attention to him. Today, he was a little low. I mean, he played and stuff like that, but he's a little low in energy today. But the reason why is because I treat his cancer with THC and I doubled up the dosage today. So he's a little slowing down a little bit today. He's not necessarily, the THC doesn't make them high. It just makes them sort of just tired and sort of mellow. So that's what he is today. And so there's, again, no reason to freak out. And it's because I know my dog so well. I know their behaviors. I know all the things that they do. And so something that's unusual, it stands out.
Right.
And, but I can also backtrack and find, oh, that's why this is happening. And it's just one of those where I think we all think we know our dogs, but I think it would put people I think it's a good idea to get into the habit of making notes about your dogs, like weighing them on the regular basis and understanding like the foods that they don't like and do like, or making a note if something changed in their behavior or the way they look, make a note of when that happened and track it, because those are the type of things that are going to basically make you an expert in your dog.
Yes.
And in doing that over the years, people ask me, it's like, why aren't you freaking out? Your dog has cancer. And it's like, yeah, my dog has had cancer for over a year. I mean, I wouldn't survive if I was freaking out on a daily basis. I mean, it's just like, and hearing from other people whose dogs have lived for 4 years post-diagnosis or 5 years post-diagnosis, it's like, you can't do that to yourself. So
you just described my whole dog health journal. It's all about like knowing your dog, knowing their behaviors, what behaviors, what notes to make when their behavior changes, like, so you don't lose track of those things.
Yeah.
And I actually do like the download format, because if your dog is healthy, you might not need to track it every single day. So you could just print out what you need when you need it. But I do want to have a physical thing for like when people have like a dog with cancer or something, and you're trying to track or you're trying to do like an elimination diet, or you're trying to, see what causes flares or not flares. That's why I really want the food.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things that to do.
I have a vet appointment pages
Oh,
also, so that you
nice.
can put like all of your questions you need to ask the vet,
That's a good idea.
any of like the refills that you need, any of your notes from the vet. Do you have to like follow up? Do you have to get test results? Because I try to get copies of like all the blood work, all the test results, all the things for my file as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because that's the thing is like I usually would just come home with like a statement from that's just like how much I paid, and then it's like 6 months later and I'm like, wait, what was this for? And you're like trying to remember, because so that's why I'm like, I want like all the things all in one place. I don't want to get home and realize I forgot to ask them this. I don't want to get home and realize I forgot to get a refill because I've done all these things. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's such a great idea, especially for people who have multiple dogs. I mean, it's hard to take, track of it all. I mean, we now have 3 senior dogs in the house, and thankfully, they're all doing really well. But, there's going to come a time when I'm going to be juggling dogs, and it's just like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Oh, well, my big goal, once I get the hard cut, I want to have like a system, like a binder that you can have for your dog's like whole life, so that you can, and it'll have like its own little hole punchy thing in there, so that you can get your test results from the vet, and have like all your blood work results that are all in one plate. Like, yeah, that's like my next.
Put your animal biome in there. You can,
have tabs for everything, because this is like my container store geek, right? Like I just want to have like all the tabs and all the labels and all the dividers and all the things, and and the funny thing is I'm not always the world's most organized person, but like when I have a system, like when I have a thing, like I will do it because I'm such a
maybe you should add stickers to it too.
Oh yes,
stickers where it's like vet appointment or weigh-in day or
Do you have a scale of your own? Of your dog? Oh, okay.
Yeah. You want to see it?
Yeah. Is it a big one? Oh, yeah. That's the one our vet has.
Yeah. It's the only thing I don't like about it is that the number never just sets.
Yeah,
so you have to have your dog be still, or else it's like all over the place.
I know. Penny's like around 51 pounds.
Yes, exactly.
Never quite get it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like all of the dogs are pretty good about it. The only dog that's hard for is Apollo, because I pull it out and they all know the deal. Come sit,
get a treat.
Rodrigo will just come and sit down on the scale, which I appreciate. The other ones just stand, but I have to look around and make sure all of the feet are on the scale.
Or on it, yeah.
Because I'm just like, wow, you lost a lot of weight. Oh, one of your feet is over it. And so Apollo is the hardest one to get him to settle on the scale. And so I found that it's best for me to do it at night when everyone's sort of like chill and mellow. Because then they'll jump on the scale. But yeah, I actually need to weigh my dogs, because I started doing it with Sydney. I used to take them to the vet because there was a scale in the lobby, and I would just weigh everybody on the scale and then go home. But there was this one vet that it was really nice because their lobby was always empty. The scale was sort of like away from the sitting area. So I can come in, weigh my dogs. I just bring them in one at a time and weigh them. And they were perfectly fine with me doing that. And then I go home. But there was another vet, and this is why I went and got the scale, is I went in there and took one dog, was going to weigh the dog. And there was someone in there with, I don't even know what type of dogs they were, because I was out of there so fast. But I walked in and their dogs lost their ever living mind. And I just turned around and walked right back out and was just like, nope, we're not doing that. And then I was just like, okay, so that's probably not a good idea, because it was super stressful. I actually thought I was killing 2 birds with 1 stone by taking my dogs to the vet, but nothing bad happened. We just got on the scale and left. But I didn't want to risk another, like with any other dog. So, and I saw this one on Amazon. At the time, it was like $80, $90. I think it's more now. But I went ahead and bought it then, and yay. Yay. It was awesome.
So I have like 2 more unpopular opinions. Okay, so I'm trying to decide which one to save for last. So I guess that conventional veterinary care is sick care, and I want well care and health care for my dog. So that's what I have to say about that. Like, we're really great, conventional veterinary, medicine is really great at diagnosing what's wrong with your dog and, being able to do surgeries or, to fix the problems. But I feel like it shouldn't be so weird or alternative to like actually just want your dog to be healthy.
Yeah.
And that goes with people, care also, because that's why like I work with like a functional medicine doctor and things like that, because I actually want to be well.
I think my most horrible, unpopular opinion is I don't care if people use training collars on their dogs. It's not my dog. It's not my business.
So I feel very similarly. I feel that there are okay ways to use most training implements.
Mm-hmm.
And just because somebody has a certain kind of collar on their dog doesn't mean that, like, they're being horrible to their dog. Like, I think that there are appropriate ways to use most of the implements that you see out there.
Yeah.
But there are times when I see them being used improperly.
Yes.
And and I think that it's something that you really, if you're going to use a training collar, you should be working with a trainer.
Mm-hmm.
And actually like paying money and being there, not just like trying to watch something off of YouTube with it or something and doing it yourself.
Yeah. I don't like the fact that you can buy them at the pet store. I think you should have to buy them through a veterinary clinic or through a dog trainer.
Yeah.
Because, and I think that like a dog trainer should check out the situation and say, okay, yeah, I get it. Because I've seen people at the pet store with a brand new puppy looking for a training collar or a bark collar. And it's just sort of like, no, that's not what we do here.
Yeah.
And so those are the type of things that bug me. But it's funny because I see people get so enraged if they see, like, I've gotten to the point where I will not post, like when I look for, stock photography for dogs. If the dog is wearing a training collar, I'm not going to download it because it will distract from the entire conversation will be about that training collar.
Yes.
And people are not capable. It's not all people, but many people are incapable of having that discussion respectfully. And I've just reached a point where I have met people because, I used to be a judger. I still am a judger, but I used to be a very passionate judger. But then I started asking questions and asking people why and learned so much. Like I learned from so many people whose dogs are wearing training collars that they don't actually like the vibration collars or the shock collars. Like they don't actually have them on. I met this couple and they're like, there's not even batteries in them.
Yeah.
It's like our dogs know what they are and they know that, oh, when I wear this is how I'm supposed to behave. And that's it. And, I know people, I've heard all of the opinions on both sides. I wrote an article where I took an opinion from someone who was pro training collars and thoughts from someone who is against training collars and just addressed both of them. And I think that everyone has really great points of view when it comes to it. But I still go back to, it's none of my business. I prefer not to use them with my dogs, but I'm also not going to rule them out 100% because maybe I might have is
a mosquito. Sorry.
Is it fairy dust that's falling down? Are you doing a spell on me? Is it your aura? Are you cleaning your aura? but yeah, so I just really don't care. But yeah, I know several people who use training collars with their dogs and they swear by them. And I know plenty of people who manage to train their dogs out of horrible, behavior and without the use of training collars. So I think that there is space for both modalities, and I'd rather just sit still and be quiet and learn. And I've just reached a point where I will never say never because I feel like, that's giving versus like, ha ha ha. Right. Did you hear her, guys? Let's give her the worst dog ever.
Funny story with us. So we've never done a ton of like formal training. When we first got Penny and Nino, there was a trainer who was very highly recommended, worked with a lot of the rescue and shelters, and a friend of mine like kind of trained with this person. And so we were like, well, maybe we should like try to do some formal training with them now, you know. And this was using like a prong type collar.
Mm-hmm.
And what was funny is like I didn't have a problem going into the class, and I don't have a problem with them being used appropriately. But we decided that we didn't like them and we didn't want to use them with our dogs. And we thought that this trainer was a little more heavy-handed than we wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so going to that kind of training with that specific trainer anyway actually turned us more into more positive dog owners, more positive based like training dog owners.
Right.
But yet I'm still not like 100% against them. We just decided that wasn't the route that we wanted to go, or at least not with that person.
Apollo has these collars. He loves his dog collars, and he actually hasn't had one on for 24 hours. So when I pulled it was wet. So when it dried, I pulled it out. He will come in and he sticks his nose, right? He knows, put it on. He loves it, but it's a really wide collar. And I don't know, I know it has a name, but it's really cool because it has a part where you hook it on, it'll tighten a little bit.
Oh, so, martingale.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what we use.
What's nice is it doesn't press on, and it works just fine. Yeah. I actually walk him with a harness, because I've always used harnesses with my dogs, but with him, I can just use his collar. And sometimes I just take the ring on the collar and just use it with my hand and just walk with him, especially like when he's in trouble and he doesn't want to listen to me. It's like, let's go to timeout. He prefers his timeout to be in the downstairs bathroom, but not in the laundry room. So we finally worked that out, but he will go to timeout. But yeah, it's like a really nice collar and I really love it. And, I guess I've been hearing about it for years, but just, it was I don't put collars on my dogs. So it was just never an issue. And I really like it for him. And so and whenever I see them and can get them at a good price, because dog collars are expensive, I buy a few. He has an entire drawer full of them. So I don't need to buy anymore. I need to stop.
All right. My last one is, as pet parents, we have to really empower ourselves to take responsibility to make decisions for our dogs. And sometimes that's going to mean being uncomfortable and stepping out of our comfort zones.
Yep. That's not really an unpopular opinion. I think that's just a fact.
I guess because it seems to me there's a lot of people who just kind of want to be told what to do.
Okay, then yes, it's an unpopular opinion. When you put it like that, because you're so right. I mean, and I get it because there's so much information out there. It can be so overwhelming. Sometimes it always cracks me up. I don't see this much anymore because I'm not a member of the Inside Scoop group, so I don't see a whole lot by Rodney. I mean, it still comes through my feed sometimes, but I remember before the Inside Scoop, he would post something and you would just see the comments were like, well, just tell us what to do. And I remember this one woman got angry with me because she was just like, I'm so sick of Rodney posting this crap and not telling anything. But I was just sort of like, but everyone's dog is different. He can't really tell you what to do with your dog. He's giving you the information and now you need to take it. It's sort of like he passed the baton. Now it's your turn to take it home and figure out, okay, how does this impact my dog and what can I learn and all of that. And she blocked me. Because it's like
unpopular opinion.
It's like I stand corrected. It is a very unpopular opinion. It was like one of those things where I look at it now as she just wanted to complain, and here I am coming in with using logic, and she just was not having it.
Right.
It's not. I'm not interested in anything that you have to say. Block. So, very good unpopular opinions.
I had fun with that one.
Oh, okay. I know we're wrapping up, but here's a really good unpopular opinion. I don't care if a raw food brand sources their meat from factory farms. I may not feed it. And since I do most of my DIY, it just doesn't impact me. But I occasionally get an email from someone who, like people will say, well, this brand uses synthetic ingredients or this brand, da, da, da. And none of that, raises an issue with me because I just feel like, yeah, ideally, that's not something that I would want to do. But I need to know from the brand if you use all whole food ingredients and if you only sourced from grass-fed, grass-finished farms, how much would your food cost? And would people be able to afford it? And it's just sort of like, because I feel like brands that are in the East Coast brands, so they seem to, because there's so many farms over there, there seem to be more of the grass-fed, grass-finished, whole food type of brands over there. And there are some over here as well. But some states, I don't think that there are as many options. And so they're going by what they are going by. And it's one of those where you don't have to feed the food. I mean, if it really bothers you, you don't have to feed the food. You can feed a different food. I mean, it's a suck answer for people who were like, I don't have anything else. But it's one of those where I just don't get as outraged as other people do. I mean, it's just, I need more information. I need to know why before I can stomach up outrage. And even then I probably can't do it. I'm too tired of being outraged.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, like, if you want the best of the best, don't buy that one. But there's things at all different price points and, all different, quality indicators for all different, budgets and for what, and, this is where I go to like, we have such a consumer society that we have to vote with our dollars.
Yeah.
And so you buy from the companies that you do believe in, that you do appreciate, that you do think are doing the right thing, and you don't buy from the other ones.
Yeah. I feel like we, this whole, cancel culture type thing, it's bled into every aspect of our lives, where if someone isn't doing something the way we think that they should be doing it, then we're going to drum up outrage from everyone around and, be upset about it. And I'm just sort of like, really? Do we have to? Because I don't think it is that big of a deal. I mean,
I don't get like that kind of outrage. I don't get social media outraged. Like that's just not.
I get social media interested. So I'm just like, right now I'm like really, I've been watching videos all day about Meghan Markle. And so it's just like, because everyone's calling her a narcissist. And I'm like, oh, do tell me more. And so that's what I've been watching. And I'm still just sort of like, I don't know what's going on, but people don't like her. And so, yeah.
I'm obsessed right now with the Murdaugh Murders podcast.
Oh, speaking of which, I started the Only Murders in the Building.
Yes.
I started. It's really good. Yeah, I think I'm on episode 4. It's really good because, what's interesting is that there's all these side things going on where I'm like, well, wait a minute, what's that mean? And what are you doing there? And what's that? And so that's like, it's really good. And I swear, Steve Martin and Martin Short are so good.
I know.
And there's so many people like in this, like Sting.
Yeah. Amy Schumer's in season 2.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying it. So thanks for the recommendation. Oh, and by the way, did you know that there is a crime con?
Yes.
I did not.
I've never been, but my girlfriend wants to go so bad.
I just learned about it this morning. Someone did a video. I guess she's going to all these different like conferences, and so all these cons, and so there's Crime Con, and I'm just like, that would be so cool. And then what's even cooler about it is that they're having they have the podcasts and the authors and even victims. But I guess this family, their son went missing at the same time that Gabby Petito went missing, and so her story overshadowed but was basically distracted all the news, and they couldn't get any traction on their story. And so, but at this conference, they were able to connect with like podcasters and people who lived in the area, and people were like, oh yeah, I'll help you. And it was like, oh, it's a community.
That's amazing. Yes, my girlfriend Melissa, we are like the true crime podcast. Last week, my phone started ringing at like 8:15 on Friday morning, and I'm like, wait, what? and we were both listening to like an episode that had come out that morning, and she was like, oh my God, did you hear? She's like, I know you're getting dressed, but like, oh my God. And so yes, she is dying to go to Crime Con, and so we were like, next year we'll go.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, we're done.
All right.
It's great talking to you.
Until next time.